Good afternoon from Yami B TV. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love to you as usual. Right, we get back round to... Oh, it's always hard to get in a seating position. We get back round to story time. Now, some of you are going to rightly say, but Uncle Yami, stop giving away all the big stuff that are going to be used in books. But hang on a minute. This kind of story coming up and this kind of content on Yami B TV, there's going to be many of this kind of story in my book, Hopelessly Lost, because we knew that I was described, wasn't I, by the authorities as a professional burglar, the Pink Panther, Raffles, etc., etc. We know about all them things. I say that I couldn't have been that much of a good burglar because I always left all the evidence behind. I never used to get nicked. I mean, arrested on the spot doing stuff, if you get what I mean. But we knew a feature of my crimes during the bad life that I led, I've always seemed to have the knack of leaving evidence behind. So we're going to take it all the way back. It was 1994. It would have been the same period when I got the tiara, and that was in some of my bigger interviews out on YouTube as well, when sadly, you know, I ruined more people's lives by stealing their jewelry. A royal family of some kind. Do you remember that? We've gone into that before that. But this would have been about a month or so before that. I was staying at my cousin's stroke sister, really. She's not blood related, but she was, and she's rest in peace now. She was the second most important person in my life that died whilst I was in custody as well. Rosamund Spencer, right? I loved her with all my heart. I was staying in the spare room there. She never used to like me going out stealing every day. It was occupational hazard for me. And I used to wake up like it was a job every morning to go out and see if I could hit the jackpot by climbing up high story places or blagging my way through the front to creep into, you know, sadly, a penthouse apartments and houses in another way. I was versatile in that kind of way, in all ways, if you get what I mean. Now, before the £1 million heist with the tiara, sadly, we know what I did with all that, with that case as well. So this is before that. So I woke up one morning, right? I was smoking them times too. I was putting £50 of shit in one king size Rizzler and go like that. And then I used to roll them all up and then I used to hide them. I used to get all the knives and guns. It was mad with me. She just goes, Sammy, Rosamund used to say to me, you know that my kitchen, I haven't got no more meat knives left to cut the chicken and things like that. She goes, you always take them. You took every single knife in this house. I said, all right, then I'll go and buy you another set, right? So during this time, I woke up one morning and I said, Ros, I said, I had a dream. She said, about what? I said, about, I was in an Aladdin's cave where I was surrounded by all gold and diamonds and jewelry. She goes, you're crackers, you are. Well, one night after a late night or two, I woke up about 4:35 in the evening and it was near winter time, right? And as usual, when I woke up, I was straight out the door, going on a mission of that kind, if you get what I mean. So I headed towards St. John's Wood. I was in a tracksuit. I was moving fast, that kind of stuff. I ended up in St. John's Wood somewhere, right? And I've hopped over. There was one block of apartments there. There was penthouse suites here, but I couldn't go through the front door because it was evening and there was no one in. Sometimes in the morning, certainly during that day, my method would have been to get through the tradesman or say that I was a salesman and get in and that kind of blag. So we knew that I was a con man as well. But I went over that building's wall to get to the building that I wanted to get. So I've hopped over there. And the drain pipe, it's one of those, it's not a plastic one this time. It's got all tar on it and that kind of stuff, right? But I had gloves on at this time. So rarely, occasionally, right? So I started climbing up because I used to touch windows on the way when I was climbing up there just to see even lights on. I used to think sometimes having their lights on in those premises, I used to think if you put your ear in, if you can't hear nothing, it might be a blag. Like they just put the light on to make you believe that or they might be just down the road. Sadly, that was the way the game was. I reached about the 8th floor, right? There was only about 6th floor. Sorry, there's only about 9 floors. So when I got to the 9th floor, I was on the drain pipe and I flapped the small window at the top. So I reached on and got onto it, hanged onto it, and then put my head through into the window, and I could see the kitchen, but the kitchen had like a fire on it, very low fire, like something was being cooked. And I was thinking, well, they've got to be in. But then I started shouting and saying, hello, hello, hello. No one answered, right? So I went through the window, opened up another window, but it wasn't a massive window, if you get what I mean. It was a small one. And luckily, there was gates as well. The gates were open. So when I opened that and went through that window, right? So I was a bit panicky because the penthouse was really, really long. Like there's loads of rooms. I was thinking, ooh, they could be in the back or something like that. But I went into the kitchen. I saw the kitchen. I looked at the thing. It was hot water, but it wasn't. It was full, but it wasn't bubbling or anything. So I started to think, well, hold on. They might have just gone down the road. You better be quick, Yummy, right? So I'm breathing hard and now running through, touching each door, looking to see who's in. So then I got to the master bedroom. And I looked down and I opened one drawer. I had some US dollars and that kind of stuff, right? I opened the 4 mirror wardrobes and I spotted 2 briefcases. So I pulled out the briefcases, but here you see a scar there, right? A week before this incident, I was on a bad, I was doing burglaries in Kensington, right? And I got chased by a guard dog and I jumped up onto the spike railings and my finger, if you look carefully there, can you see it? Right there, there's always been a scar there in the middle. I got my when I jumped onto the railings, I got my the spike got stuck in there, so there was blood pouring everywhere. So I had the bandage round it while I was doing this burglary. So I think if I remember rightly, I got DNA on this and got convicted of this as well, right? And so I pulled out the 2 briefcases, but I was struggling to open the briefcases because they had locks on them, but they were leather, and I didn't have the strength because I was pulling with this hand and I couldn't really. And then one side busted, and then another side, and I looked in, and all I could see was watches and 22 carat and 18 carat gold, diamonds, and everything with price tags on. So I was thinking, this is a jeweler's. This man must be a jeweler's, yeah. So I opened the other case, but I was trying to pull it and I said, don't look in it yet. It's the same as that. It must be jewelry. So I threw those 2 on the bed. I had the US dollars, right? And then all of a sudden I was going to leave. I was going to go, yeah, but I tried the front door, couldn't get out, right? I tried another fire exit door, couldn't get out. So I had to go out the same way I come in. These are what those gaffes you can come across during that life, sadly, and only rightly so, when people got to protect themselves from people like me. So I've gone to the window. I put the 2 cases there. But I said, search properly. There might be more. So I went back in. I found another case, but it was a metal Hitachi case, and there's no way that I could break this, right? So I said, you know what, just take it and go. So I came back down and I thought, well, Yami, this is a good one, because how are you going to get the cases down to the ground floor? Because you definitely ain't going to be able to go down the drain pipe with the cases. So I got the 2 leather ones, and I dropped them straight out, and the FUD hit the green. Remember, it was a dark night as well. It must be like 5 in the evening, 5:30 or something like that, right? And if I remember rightly, it was muddy as well. I think the rain might have been falling earlier on or something like that. So the 2 cases are a bit the thing. So then I've got the metal Hitachi case and thrown it out as well. Boom. I'm thinking, oh no, someone's going to hear that. So I've come back out the window, come back down the drain pipe, gone downstairs, really moving fast. As I got down to the ground floor, I got the 2 leather cases, because I know that there's jewelry in there, right? And I got to the wall of the back of the other case. I put the 2 cases on the wall, but I'm thinking, oh God, you're gonna. And just as I went for the Hitachi case, a man come out. He must have been a security porter or something, and he had a walkie-talkie. And he said, what did he say? He said something like to me, what country are you from? Where are you from? I don't know what kind of building I was in, right? But I weren't listening to it. I couldn't go back for the Hitachi case, so I lost it. So I jumped on the wall, got over, took the 2 cases with me, and got downstairs. I'm walking with the cases, right? Could I get a taxi home? No. Of all the times, you see black cabs coming past all the time. On this night, nothing was happening, right? I said, my days, boy. But I walked, I was thinking, wow, Yami, you're fat, you're cake-old, you're in the game. Bloody hell, Yami, because I glimpsed some of it in the gaff, sadly, right? But anyway, I got back to my cousins, right, down near Mozart Estate. And I got in and I was going like that. I said, see, do you remember the dream? Do you remember the dream? She goes, you're nuts. Where did you get all this? I don't really like you doing all this here, Sam, and all that kind of, she wasn't into all that kind of stuff, right? But she was still amazed, like to see that what I used to come back with from that bad life and the moves that I used to go on and that. But I used to be a right little shelf. I showed everybody everything. I didn't really get nothing for it. I think I got about 30 or 40 or 50 or something like that over a couple of week period, right? Up until that other time. Imagine when I got nicked for the Albert Mansions, for the tiara and all that, right? They come up with that one as well. And what they did, they got the jewellery, right, that I stole, but they said that I also took the Hitachi case with about £400,000 in it. Imagine that. So what they did was they must have claimed insurance, rightly so. You got to do what you got to do when if it's not legal, but at the same time, people will do it. And I said, they were asking me, they said, where's the £500,000 as well as that? You had £1 million worth of da-da-da-da. I said, nah, the Hitachi case. I left it, right? So, what's this, right? So I was thinking, I was going through the statements, I was going, so the reason why, so I knew that, because when I was explaining to people, that's what, about the Hitachi case, they were saying to me, Yami, that was the money case. That was the case you was meant to throw over those Hitachi metal ones. That kind of stuff. I was thinking today, wow, Yami, man, you didn't really care about the money and all that. And I'm telling you straight, like with Albert, with the tiara and all that, with that money and with this money as well, I would have smoked. I was smoking at least £800, £1,000 a night easy and wasting it all and putting £50 in spliffs and that kind of stuff. When I was on that run in '94, if I was living like that today, I would definitely have died with that kind of money, if you get what I mean. But it just shows you where your head was at. But more to come in Hopelessly Lost and loads. Apart from the crime, sadly, there've been many other different kind of stories as well.